Yeah. All right. Good morning, men. I can't believe it, man. There's snow outside. It's kind of ugly out there, and there's close to 80 guys here today, man. This is just unbelievable. It's great. You guys rock. You know, a couple things by way of house cleaning here with some announcements. By the way, those of you watching right now on live stream, welcome. I know a number of you guys couldn't make it today, and you're watching on live stream. We got people, by the way, watching it from all over the world, so it's been really growing. And in fact, we were thinking about, because District 20 doesn't meet anymore right now, and I don't think they have, unless they're still doing it, I don't think they have any closure announcements. So you guys know that in the past, we've gone by District 20 closures when it comes to meetings here at the church. And if we don't have that, there's no way for you to know when you get up in the morning whether we've had enough snow to cancel. So what we're thinking, we're trying to figure out a way to where maybe we could do it through live stream, because Steve or I or any of us could do this into live stream. I believe we could do that, Gary. I checked with a couple of guys this morning, and we can do it right through the live stream from our home. So what we could do is maybe figure out a way to do it maybe a half an hour earlier so you guys could check and turn on the live stream, and we'd be able to make the announcement and actually do a brief teaching, actually a devotional, right from our home. So we'll get more information to you about that as we move forward. The other thing that I wanted to remind you guys about is last week, you remember that Steve and I were up here, and at the end we had I thought a really, really powerful time where Steve prayed for all of us. And what we're all excited about here at the Road is the dedication of our men to become all that God intended. Because how many of you know, as we look into the landscape and look toward the future, God is really looking for men to step up. And last week you guys indicated your willingness to do that. I think every one of you were here at the altar on your face getting prayer. So as we move forward, last Sunday we smashed our biggest attendance record in the history of our church. We had more people, and this is, yeah. But along with that comes challenges, guys. They're good challenges. We need help in order to be able to accommodate all the new people and to be able to minister more effectively. So we really want to encourage you guys to pray about and get serious about stepping up, taking it to the next level. We're going into a new year. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing a session today, and part 2 will be next week on time management, talking about planning and vision and a strategy for living going into next year, and not making resolutions, but rather commitments. We'll unpack that later, but really need you guys to pray about stepping up. And in the sign-up sheet on your table, we really want you guys to look at that and consider. We need greeters, ushers, hosts, and hospitality and food people that will serve in that area. Right now, we're really concerned. Well, we've got a lot of other ministries, but right now we're focusing just on this one, okay? I'm not going to argue when Ricky Bobby says, okay, children's. By the way, if you upset Ricky Bobby, no food. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So, I mean, whatever Ricky Bobby wants, we're going to get. Ricky Bobby, okay, children's ministry, but I don't know if I trust you guys with the kids. But anyway, but we really do need ushers and greeters. Ushers is something we haven't done in a while, but if you were here in the second service on Sunday, you know that we got most of the chairs back in the auditorium now, and it is getting pretty tight. So we need ushers that will be there, help people find places to sit, move people, condense the rows. So ushers, greeters at the front door, greeters going into the main auditorium. And so we want you guys to, if you're interested in, if we get enough of you guys, you may only have to volunteer once a month. That's not a lot, once a month. You don't miss the service, but you just volunteer once a month. So we want you to put your name on there. Al is not here this morning. He had to leave, but I will be picking these up and getting them over to him. And then if you are interested, here's what's really important. We not only need people to volunteer, we need people that want to be a leader in these areas, that will take responsibility for scheduling and for actually going out and recruiting and for training people and becoming a leader. If you're interested in becoming a leader in any one of these areas, I want you to put a big red L on the top left corner and circle it. And then what I'm going to do, and Al, we're going to call you and we're going to schedule you for an interview. We want to bring you in and we want to talk with you, tell you what it is our vision for that area, and see if you guys are interested in stepping up and becoming a leader, okay? So please consider that, guys. Fill that out. And then the last thing I want to suggest to you, we haven't done this in a while, these cards are very important. I want to encourage you guys to, if you don't have some of these in your wallet, make sure you take a few and put them in your wallet. I carry them every single day wherever I go. And I give them out as often as I can. But we've been giving these out for years and years at On Target Institute and now here at AIM, and inviting people, unsaved people, to come to this men's meeting. And you know, we do this men's meeting in a pretty safe way for guys. It's pretty friendly. But we've had a number of men that have come to the Lord through these meetings and really been impacted. So hand them out. Just tell them, you know, put your name on it. They get a free breakfast when they come the first time. And you can tell the first-timer tables, I mean, the first-timer table today, we got 7 guys. You know, we've had as many as 10 or 12 guys. Welcome. They don't know about the initiation. But that's okay. We'll go over that with them later. All right, so let's get into it this morning. And this is an important subject, guys, because in a moment you'll see, oftentimes the problem is life is managing us. We're not doing a very good job of managing life. And it's part of the enemy's plan, which we'll get to in just a moment. But I read this years ago out of, the source is Doki Nomad Herald. This is really pretty old. But it says this: if you had a bank that credited your account each morning with $86,400, that carried no balance from day to day and allowed you to keep no cash in your account, and every evening canceled whatever part of the amount you had failed to use during the day, what would you do? You draw every cent out, of course. You do have such a bank, and its name is time. Every morning it credits you with 86,400 seconds. Every night it rules off as lost whatever of this you have failed to invest to good purpose. If carried over, it carried over no balances. It allows no overdrafts. Every day it opens a new account for you. Every night it burns the records of the day. If you fail to use the day's deposits, the loss is yours. There's no going back. There's no drawing against tomorrow. You must live in the present on today's deposits. Invest it so as to get from it the most in health, happiness, and success. That's a nice way of looking at some of the challenges that we face in life. A man and his time, this is part one. And by the way, this week you could see we're testing out a new kind of a teaching style. I've used this before when I've been on the road in different places. If we were going to do it here for real, we'd be getting probably a 100-inch TV screen. But I'm hoping that this is okay. We've kind of tested it out. It's much brighter and clearer, of course, than the big screen, but the beauty of this is that for live streaming and for video purposes, we're converting this to a studio where we're going to do more and more training and equipping sessions, that this might be a format that we would consider because it's a one-camera shot and everybody stays on this scene and you're not constantly cutting away to PowerPoint slides. So what I would like from you men is when we're done today, give me a heads up. What do you think? Or if you don't like this style, we can go back and do it the other way. It also helps us because we're growing and we're going to need more tables in here. We can begin to move forward and begin to use the platform. Is the platform okay for you guys? Probably a little better for the guys in the back. Hello? Yeah. Anyway, let me define your life, okay? You're being pulled in different directions. You're frustrated about the quality of relationships. No time for devotions for many of us. Bible doesn't seem to address your hectic needs every day. You always seem to be going uphill. Expectations are not being realized. You feel out of control, out of sorts. You think like this is a picture, and I really resonate with this because I've been like this a lot of times in my life, in different ones. And there were times when I was all of these things, and I felt like I had no control. Life was managing me. If I were to ask you, what did you accomplish yesterday? And I don't have time to do that here, but I've done this in live audience where I've done, what did you accomplish? You go around the room and you get people saying all kinds of things like, well, I went to the cleaners, went to the store, I picked up this, I did that, I called a bunch of people, and I ended up saying, no. I didn't ask you what you did yesterday. I asked you what you accomplished yesterday. And how many of you know it may not be, the difference is not subtle. There's a big difference between those two ideas. What you accomplished has a different kind of a meaning. It has to do with moving the ball down the road towards something purposeful, towards something that has been planned out, moving the ball towards some objective or some goal as opposed to just activity. I had a guy working for me years ago. His name was Larry. And Larry was an admin guy. And this was a big company, and he came to me one day and he says, hey, Vince, and I'm kind of embarrassed because he worked for me, because this is a failure in my leadership. It was a failure on his part, but it was also a failure in my leadership. He came to me and he brought me the employee, the corporate manual, the employee manual. And he showed it to me, and I looked at it and I said, wow, man, this is awesome. He rewrote the entire employee manual, and Larry was, he was incredibly detailed. I mean, it was beautiful, okay? But here's the problem. When I started talking to Larry about what he'd done, I congratulated him. I said, how long did it take you to do this? Well, it took him a lot of hours that he put into this, okay? Larry was efficient, not effective. Then there's a big difference, guys, between efficiency and effectiveness. He was able to do that and do it well, but was it necessary? Was it the priority that needed to be addressed in our company at that time? No. But I mean, I take it as a personal failure. Larry was doing what he was equipped to do. He was happy to do it. He knew how to do it. How many of you know, oftentimes when there's a bunch of objectives out there, the one that we typically pick is the one that we're good at. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the one that needs to be addressed. We'll get into this more next week when we talk about goals and priorities and having an ABC priority system. We'll get into that more next week. But Larry did an excellent job on putting that thing together, but what Larry didn't do was the more important things that I could have had him do. And again, that's why it was a failure on my part as well. So there's a difference between efficiency and effectiveness, but that's the way many of us are. Okay, so how did we get here? Okay, well, here's how we got here. It's the enemy's plan. The enemy attacks us through our senses. The enemy, through music, TV, radio, internet, all of these different, how many of you know we're getting information overload right now? I, by the way, turned pretty much everything off. I don't, if any of you ask me what's going on in our world right now or in the news, I couldn't tell you, and honestly, I don't give a rip. You know, I just know about one kingdom that I'm interested in, and I'll get bits and pieces along the way. But as we move more and more down this road, I'm more and more convinced we need to stay focused on the big picture, guys. The big picture, and that's eternity. That's not the little minutia stuff that we're involved with today. There's something much bigger at stake here. Okay, we have what I call information overload. We value activity over results, form over substance. And that's what our culture is throwing at us, especially in our culture. If you're in Kenya, you don't have this problem. If you're in Papua New Guinea and all you own in life is a loincloth and a spear, it ain't real complicated. But you guys, we get up every morning and we're faced with thousands of decisions that we have to make every day. Every day, okay? This is the enemy's plan. He knows that an unordered people will lead to an unordered world, which is a world where people cannot find God. He allows this to happen, and he pushes us into this arena so we don't have time for God. I can't tell you how many times I've been ashamed of myself because I didn't make a place in my day to be with God. Any of you guys resonate with this? Any of you guys have this issue? You know, it's become a problem. That's why as we move into this year, guys, and we're talking about this whole idea of abiding in God, listen, if we're not able to give God the best of our time, just like we do with our money, we're not going to be able to get to know him and abide in him. It's that simple. So, the result, the problem, life is managing you. There's not a lack of time, it's a lack of vision. Vision. Our favorite verse and the verse that drives our whole ministry is Proverbs 29:18. You guys have heard us teach on it before, okay? Where there is no revelation, this is the NIV, people cast off restraint. But blessed is the one who heeds wisdom and instruction. Where there's no vision, the people perish, it says in another translation. Vision is what we need. It needs to be a vision from God that will draw us toward the goals that are in the important goals in life, and not just get helter-skelter and do just a bunch of activity and not see the kind of results that God's looking for. So, the end of the day, the reason why we have no clear priorities and goals, okay? No long-term vision. And so if there's no long-term vision, why plan? And you cannot have a meaningful goal without a vision. You will not accomplish a goal unless you value it. These are just some ideas that you guys can kind of note. For it says, for where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So the first idea I want to communicate this morning, and we'll kind of end here in just a moment and let you guys talk about this, is the idea that it begins with having a clear purpose or vision of where you're going. I've used this illustration before. Some of you probably haven't heard it, but the story of Michelangelo, on how he was able to carve these magnificent masterpieces. He was asked, allegedly, how he was able to do this, how he was able to create these beautiful statues, and he allegedly said something like, well, you know, I don't know how it works exactly, but I seem to be able to go over to the rock quarry, and even before they cultivate the slab from the quarry, I'm able to catch the vision of the beauty of the statue that I want to create. He says, once I catch the vision, the rest is really simple. I just chip away what doesn't belong. And I've always thought that was a powerful illustration of the power of vision. I told, I think I was talking with a couple of our staff people the other day about, back in the 60s when I first got married, I was a chain, some of you guys have heard my testimony, but I was a chain smoker and a chain drinker. I smoked like 4 packs of cigarettes a day, but in those days, the cigarettes were 25 cents a pack, okay? I don't even know what they are today, but I mean, it's like, wow. So anyway, I smoked 4 packs a day, so I wanted to buy this van. It was a really cool van. It was like a surfer van, you know, and all decked out on the inside, you know, and it had big side pipes on it, and I wanted it to tow our little ski boat. So my wife and I went down to look at the van, and we ran the numbers, and we were $30 a month short of being able to buy that van. Well, in the 60s, $30 a month, I mean, what would that be today? Probably $300, you know. It was like, whoa, I was just bummed out. Couldn't have the van. But the van, listen, was my vision. So how many of you know when you give a man a vision, get out of his way? He'll find a way. If that vision is strong enough, you'll find a way. It's different getting up in the morning to go camping and fishing than it is going to work. We get excited sometimes about our visions. So anyway, 4 packs a day, 25 cents a pack. Huh. I may be Italian, but I'm not slow. You know, $1 a day times 30, it's like $30 a month. So I said, hey, Cindy, if I quit smoking and I saved that money, we could buy that van. Now, mind you, I've tried quit smoking like dozens of times. No success whatsoever. None. I said, we could buy that van. And she said, that's a great idea. I said, great, let's go get it. She said, you quit first. I'm really good at trying to talk myself out of problems that I behave myself into, you know. So anyway, I wanted that van, end of the story, so bad that I put down a 4-pack-a-day habit that Sunday night, and I've never picked up another cigarette since. That's the power of vision, guys. So the very first step in this teaching is you need to ask God, and you need to sit down and meditate, and with your wives, about what is it you think God is calling you toward going into next year. What is your purpose? What is the vision God is giving you for next year? Maybe part of it is volunteering. Maybe part of it may be doing some things deliberately to get toward an earlier retirement age, or doing something about moving. I mean, I don't know what it might be, but you need to know. Because next week, we're going to teach you how to have goals and priorities that are going to help you move toward the satisfaction of that vision. And I hope that it will be helpful for you guys. We'll give you some tools and some tricks. Some of you guys have heard some of this stuff, but many of you haven't. It's amazing how many guys I've talked to, they don't even understand basic principles of time management. You know, and the same thing is true with money, by the way. Following this, we're going to be doing a couple of weeks on a man and his money, maybe probably 3 or 4 weeks. I've got Jay coming to share a little testimonial that is really powerful during that time, so we'll do that in the weeks to come. But this morning, to close this out, life implication: not having an ordered life can lead to confusion and make it difficult to find time for God, and we've all recognized that. Life application this morning: a couple of simple discussion questions for you. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I managing my time? How would you assess the way you are managing your time in the context of efficiency versus effectiveness, especially? How do you think you're doing? And then, am I guilty of being efficient versus effective? And if so, explain. Are you guilty of maybe doing things that seem easier, not as productive, but make you feel good? Because, and that was me, man. For a long, long time, if I had a to-do list, and I would every time I'd go into our retail stores, I would ask the manager to show me his to-do list. And some of the managers would say, "Oh, it's right up here." Those are the guys I usually fired. But you got to have a to-do list, okay? And then show me the priorities, what you're doing. And typically, my mistake oftentimes is I'll have a long to-do list, like 30, 40 items. I end up checking off the easy ones. The ones I can do in 4 or 5, minutes or whatever, and I can see that I got check marks. When in fact, that may be the worst thing that you can do, because 5 minutes invested in that overwhelming priority, just to take it's called the Swiss cheese method, a chunk out of it by sitting down and maybe planning out people you need to call, is more valuable than the 5 minutes you spent putting that check mark on that item that didn't really matter. Does that make sense? All right, guys, and go ahead and have your discussion time, and you got lots of time to do it, and I don't think we're going to make any announcements at the end, but please allow enough time to pray with and for each other. Table leaders, next week, after this meeting next week, we need you in the library for just about 10 minutes. We have something very special we want to do, and a couple of announcements we're going to make. So please put that, and those of you who are watching by live stream, make a note of that. Next week after this meeting in the library, the table leaders. Okay? Go for it, guys.